Jai Narayan, dear students. So today we are going to start the third poem from our textbook, and the name of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo, which is written by Leslie Norris. Now, first I'm going to tell you about the poet Leslie Norris. George Leslie Norris was born on 21st May 1921 and he died on 6th April 2006. He was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. Norris published his first poem in 1938 and by 1943 he published his first book of poetry. In addition to poems and short stories, Norris published translations, biographies and reviews also. His publication Ransom had won Poetry Society's Alice Hunt Bradley Prize in 1970. His main works include Finding Gold 1967, Holy Places 1998, A Tiger in the Zoo 1938. Now students, I'll tell you something about the poem. A poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, is written by Leslie Norris. In this poem, the poet tries to depict the mental condition of a caged tiger. He compares the life of a tiger in the zoo with its life in its natural habitat. The poet conveys an important message that the wild animals should be left in their natural habitats in the poem. He highlights the contrast between freedom and captivity. He very impressively shows us how love for freedom is the natural instinct of every living being. So students, the poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet explains what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. Now, I request all of you to open your book, page number 29, A Tiger in the Zoo. I am going to start the explanation. Here I am going to read the first paragraph. He stalks in his vivid stripes. Stalks means to stride, to move quietly and slowly. Vivid means clear, or you can say so bright. And stripes means long narrow band. The few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Pads means the soft part under the foot of the tiger, and rage means anger. So the students, the poet says a tiger locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. It is a very small cage. The tiger can hardly take a few steps along the length of the cage. He looks majestic as he slowly moves up and down in his cage. The sharp and clear stripes on his body are of strong bright colors. His pads are velvet soft. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. The caged tiger is angry. He is full of anger, but is quiet because he knows that he is helpless here. So here, the poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footstep. The tiger tries to control his anger by very quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is very angry because he is not free. Dear student, in these four lines, the rhyming scheme used is A, B, C, B. The first line, last word stripes, A. Second line, last word cage, B. Third line, last word quiet, C. And fourth word, last line, rage. It's rhyming with B. So the rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Here, personification is used. The tiger is personified because the poet here refers to him as he. Now, come to second paragraph, second stanza. He should be lurking in shadow. Lurking means hiding. Sliding through long grass. Sliding means moving. Near the water hole. Hole means pool, you can say. Where plum deer pass. Plum means chubby. So, in these four lines, the poet is telling, he says that if this tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies, so that he could easily catch a deer, so that he could have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle, where he could catch his prey and eat it. But the tiger in the cage cannot do so. So here, looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poet is filled with pity. He says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat, that is the jungle, hunting and resting. Then, at this hour of the night, he would have been lying in the shadows of trees and sliding quietly through the long grass. He would then, near the water hole, wait for some fat and healthy deer to pass that way. Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. Kids, a rhyming scheme in these four lines is shadow A, grass B, hole C, pass B. So A, B, C, B. Rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. Now come to third paragraph. He should be snarling around houses. Snarling means making angry and warning sound. At the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs. Baring means showing, and fangs means two long sharp teeth at the front of the mouth of animals. His claws, terrorizing the village. Terrorizing means threatening or frightening. So here the writer is telling, the poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp tooth and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the village. So here, in these lines, the poet imagines what the tiger would be doing in case he failed to find any prey in his natural habitat, that is in the jungle. He says that the tiger would be angrily moving around the houses in a nearby village. He would be growling at the edge of the jungle near some village. He would be showing his white teeth and terrible claws while moving here and there. He would thus become a cause of terror for the villagers. The poet here also gives a hint to us that If we continue to destroy the forest cover and the natural habitat of the animals, then they will be forced to turn to our towns and villages to find their food. In this paragraph, the last word of first line say houses, A. Second line last word edge, B. Third line last word clause, C. And fourth line last word village, D. So A, B, C, D. Poetic device rhyming scheme in this paragraph is A, B, C, D. Now all of you come to stanza 4. But he'd locked in a concrete cell. Concrete cell means a very small and unpleasant cage. His strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage. Stalking means moving slowly and very quietly, ignoring visitors. Here, the poet is telling that he is locked in a concrete cell. The poet here now tells us about the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a small cell which is made of strong building material. He further says that as the tiger is behind bars, so he is quite ferocious in is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tries to terrorize the visitors as he cannot attack them. In this, the poet says that the tiger is locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. Very slowly and silently, the tiger moves up and down along the length of the cage. He moves in an angry and threatening manner. He takes no note of the visitors who had come to the zoo to have a look of him. He completely ignores them as none of them thinks of releasing him from the prison. Moreover, due to their presence, he hardly gets any rest during the day. The last line about rhyming scheme, the last word of the first line says cell, A, bars, B, cage, C, visitors, D. So the rhyming scheme here is also A, B, C, D. Now all of you come to stanza 5. He hears the last voice at night. The patrolling car. Patrolling means this is the work of the policeman, just to go around an area at regular time to check whether that area is safe or not. And stares with his brilliant eyes. Brilliant means very bright. At the brilliant star. Here, the poet says that in the night, the tiger hears the sound of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars, as already told to you, are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So, in the night, the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, He stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thoughts towards them. So, due to the visitors, the tiger gets no rest during the day. Even at night, he remains disturbed due to the noise that comes from the patrolling car. The tiger has thus lost all hopes and feels very helpless. And thus he stares at the brilliant stars shining deeply in the sky. It seems that he is looking for some sort of comfort and hope in these stars. His brilliant eyes shows that he still hopes for the day when he would be able to run free in the forest and live in the natural surroundings. That's it in the explanation section, dear students. Now, the poetic devices which are used in the poem. The poetic device first is repetition. Repetition of words or phrases in the same line. So here, in the first paragraph, it's velvet quiet in his quiet rage. And in the last line, brilliant eyes, brilliant stars. This is repetition. And the second device uses alliteration. Alliteration means a repetition of initial consonant sound in the same line. So, in the first line you see, he stalks in his vivid stripes. Here stalks S, stripes S. This is consonant sound S. And next is fourth paragraph, first line. But he is locked in a concrete cell. Here concrete and cell. This is alliteration. Rhyming scheme, as already told, first, second and fifth paragraph, they are having the rhyming scheme of A, B, C, B. Whereas third and fourth paragraph, they are having the rhyming scheme of A, B, C, D. So dear students, I hope you have understood it. If you find any problem, feel free to ask. Thank you.